Crowhill here. Today we review an IPA and ask, who is this Saul Alinsky guy? Good evening, Pigweed.
Good evening, Crowhill. How about some beer and conversation?
That's a great idea. What are we drinking?
Not just an IPA, an extra IPA.
Extra IPA.
Yes.
All right,
How does that
fantastic.
sound?
I love it.
All right, what's on your mind?
Well, I had never thought that community organizer was a job.
No.
Until I heard that Barack Obama used to be a community organizer. I was like, what is that?
That was his previous job before he was a senator.
Sounds like you're on the PTA or something. You know, I don't get that. And then I heard that Hillary Clinton wrote a senior thesis on some guy named Saul Alinsky.
And they're tied together. This Saul Alinsky and the community organizer
organizing
and the Chicago and
these methods, like Democrat methods or
Yeah.
something. And I never really paid much attention to it, but then recently I've heard Ben Shapiro say that we ought to follow these methods.
And yes, and that the Saul Alinsky name has been popular, but it's also one of those things that once you hear something, you know, once you hear it the first time and it gets your interest, you're like, how come I'm hearing about it all the time?
Yes.
Well, probably isn't that way. But
Yeah.
Okay, so this is an extra IPA.
Okay.
And I guess it's extra delicious.
Well, it's 7.2,
There
which makes it a little extra.
Yeah, so I would, your normal IPAs can be, they're up to about 7. And so this is Sierra Nevada, and this is one of my real go-tos.
Mm-hmm.
First, with Sierra Nevada's regular IPA is their pale ale.
Yeah.
Is fantastic.
Right.
And this just kicks it up a notch. And then if it hasn't kicked it up enough for you, there's the Atomic Torpedo.
Oh, really?
At 9.2.
Okay. Now, what I'm getting out of it, first of all, it's a lovely color. Right. I like that color.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of hop bitterness and flavor, not a ton of hop aroma, which surprises me just a touch. I expected a little more on the aroma side, but it's very delicious. This is
That is good.
I mean, Sierra Nevada, anything they do is going to be good.
Right. This is kind of the one where if I want a little bit strong beer and I don't feel like browsing through the cases,
right,
and the price is always right,
mm-hmm.
This is a real go-to. The Torpedo Extra.
Damn the torpedoes, full hops ahead.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
So well done, Sierra Nevada. Keep sending them our way.
Kiduki. So yes, I just feel like the name has this is a phrase I always hear this is right out of the Alinsky playbook.
Right.
So I'm like, all right. So I guess there's a playbook out there.
Yeah.
And so Mr. Alinsky was born in 1909 in Chicago. Lived in 1972. Title: they say he's an American social organizer who stimulated the creation of numerous activist, citizen, and community groups.
Well, he died a year after he wrote this book.
Yes, so his big book. So he wrote back to back. He wrote what's the first rule?
I got is 71 Rules for Radicals, a pragmatic primer for realistic radicals.
Yes, it's often referenced. He was son of Jewish Russian immigrants.
Okay.
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
And a student of criminology.
Okay.
And archaeology, and worked in the Illinois system for about 8 years. In 1938, undertook his first community organizing campaign, working for the working class folks of Chicago, the Backyards Council, which became a prototype for the generation of community organization.
So community organization really sounds like what it means is you're trying to get people to protest something. You're trying to get them to stand up for their rights for something.
It's kind of like that the regular guy on the ground has no power by himself.
Just one guy.
Right. Yeah. Let's just say that the developer wants to come in and develop the only baseball field, in your poor neighborhood.
Right.
And then what are the kids going to do?
Right.
And I'm really mad about it, but who cares? I'm just one guy.
Right.
But, if you organize, you get enough people, you make enough noise, and make a little stink, you might be able to get your way. And I think that's a very...
So the idea is to give power to people who don't have power, and show them some methods to exercise that power to get their way, right?
I'm totally on board so far.
So, and apparently he divided society into the haves, the have-nots, and the have-a-little-want-mores.
Okay.
Which is
Right.
a
Well, we're
interesting
getting
division.
a little hint of what I would call the Marxist oppressed and oppressor.
Yeah.
But it's not. He's not going full Marxist yet. He's just saying, hey, the little people need a break, and the only way that they're going to get it is if they get together.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, because if you have, this is usually true, you have somebody come in forcefully with money, whatever, and they say they're going to do something, and everybody goes, well, I guess that's the way it's going to be. They just kind of
and you go to the politician, and the politician's in the pocket of the other guy, and he's not helping you, and he'll promise to help you, and so what are you going to do?
What can I do about it? Yeah,
So he's come up with some methods for how to organize and how to, raise awareness and get your name in the paper, and
but not just awareness. It's like disruption.
Yes. You need to do something to get the media's attention, primarily, and get the rich fat cats, get their attention.
Yeah.
And it's going to have to be, you can look at the climate protest people gluing themselves to, right? That would be that kind of thing.
Yes.
But you know what he pointed out? I don't want to jump ahead of here, but just while I'm thinking about it, he says, the same technique is a drag.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like so
don't use the same technique over and over.
So if you're if you see somebody, if somebody glues their hand to the pavement, okay, that's going to get some news. About the 10th time, you're like, oh, for Christ's sake, not this shit again.
Stop.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So and he got that very early.
Yeah.
He's like, so you have to switch up your tactics.
Right.
And
right. So Shapiro summarized the Alinsky method very simply: personalize and polarize every issue.
Yeah.
And put the opposition on the wrong side of that polarization. Yeah. And number 2, make it hard for the other side to do the same to you.
Yeah.
I thought that was a reasonable summary. But he has supposedly 12 or 13, how you count them, rules or tactics for how to get this done. Do you want to try going into them?
You want to blast through them, or you want to comment as you go?
Well, let's go through them relatively quickly. So one is power is not only what you have, but what the enemy thinks you have. And an example of this is the civil rights leaders in Birmingham created the impression that they had an inexhaustible supply of protesters.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I get you.
Never go outside the expertise of your people. So if your people are relatively simple, let them keep to simple things. All right. Whenever possible, go outside the expertise of the enemy. So it's sort of the flip side of that is if you see that your enemy is weak in a certain area, exploit that. For example, Greenpeace apparently tried to disrupt whaling by flooding whaling areas with small inflatable rafts, and they didn't know what to do about that. So you're kind of putting them in a difficult situation. Make the enemy live up to their own book of rules. So when people started arguing separate but equal, the NAACP said, okay, prove that it's equal.
Okay,
right? Okay. Ridicule is a man's most potent weapon.
I like that one.
I like that one, and that one's strong.
That one's in play.
Yeah, because it's very hard to respond to ridicule. It's not much you can do. A good tactic is one your people enjoy. I thought an example of this one was pretty funny. Act Up did these theatrical die-ins to emphasize dramatic and creative stuff, which kind of seems to fit.
Yeah, but the rule about don't keep using the same old thing. If I see another woman in handmaiden outfit, all right, maybe it was a little clever. The first once. Then it's like, read another book. I mean, for crying out loud.
Yes. What did that woman have? We saw at the bar. The shirt she was carrying a bag, and it said read an effing book, and she was a character. Yeah. Anyway. All right. A tactic that drags on too long. This is what you're saying. Tactic that drags on too long becomes a drag.
Yeah.
Keep the pressure on. The Montgomery bus boycott ran for 381 days. The threat is usually more terrifying than the thing itself. Apparently, Abby Hoffman and some other groups threatened to taint the water with LSD, which forced the city to spend all kinds of resources to to make sure that didn't happen.
Right.
The major premise for tactics is the development of operations that will maintain a constant pressure upon the opposition. So, like the anti-apartheid people, they didn't just do campus demonstrations. They didn't just do international sports bans. They didn't just do boycotts. They did keep the pressure up in multiple different ways.
All right, that's good.
Okay. If you push a negative hard enough, it will push through to its counter side. So, Bull Connor's use of fire hoses and police dogs became a spectacle for the evening news that provided sympathy for the people that were being fire hosed and had dogs stuck on them, right? The price of a successful attack is a constructive alternative. So Mothers Against Drunk Driving would show up to legislators armed with fully drafted model laws, minimum sentencing guidelines, and sobriety. They would come, okay, we're not just complaining. Here's a proposal.
We want you to do something.
Yeah, right. What do you want us to do? Here's what we want you to do.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's effective. Pick the target, freeze it, personalize it, and polarize it. So the anti-sweatshop movement picked a guy, Phil Knight, who's the CEO of Nike, and just
made him the face.
Made him, yeah. So you pick a target and you make that guy feel terrible. So that's a pretty interesting list.
Yeah.
Some of them are a little underhanded, maybe, but effective.
Sit-ins. Mm-hmm. I mean, was all of the things that we think of. Alinsky inspired? So when was he... I mean, 1940 founded the Industrial Areas Foundation. So this is way before what we think of as 60s activism.
Right, yeah.
So, he could have... Although, the rules... So before that was... Reveille for Radicals is 1946.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He wrote that while serving a term in jail.
Okay.
And then the other one was much later, 71. So, I don't know what the Reveille for Radicals is, but, it's very... I'm sure it's very Alinsky-esque.
Sure, yeah.
And, what's wrong with that?
Well, no, and nothing wrong with that. So, I mean, I said some of them were underhanded, like the one about threatening to put LSD in the water supply. Right. That's a little underhanded. A lot of these things are just clever tactics.
That's a manifestation. Alinsky
He didn't promote. He didn't promote that. But these tactics are just kind of good sense, honestly. Keep the pressure on. That's a good thing. If you do the same thing over and over again, people get sick of it. Those are just reasonable rules.
What about? I've heard it associated with him. I heard it associated with Marx, and I don't know where it comes from. Accuse your opponent of the thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, is that? Can we tie that to anybody in particular, or is that just a recognition of what clearly is going on with the party of projection, which basically is that you're just like. What did you say? Okay, so that's what you're doing. Okay, well, good.
Yes, and it's so true. It is so true, and I don't know who originally came up with it, but so frequently that's what people do. If you want to distract from the fact that you're doing something, accuse the other side of doing it, and it's pretty effective.
And I would say Democrats attacking Republicans for. Violating voting laws.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So here you are. You're unwilling to scrub your rolls to get dead people off your rolls, people who've moved out of state, illegal aliens, or even let the federal government even look at your rolls.
Right.
But you're the threat to democracy.
Yeah.
And this is the other thing which I was expecting to see in there is like. Repeating talking points.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to get so everybody get huddled together. Anytime you can say threat to democracy, you have to say threat, right?
Yes.
So I feel like
you repeat a lie often enough, and it becomes a truth.
Yes, it's Goebbels-y, but it's also Alinsky-ish. What's or they'll and sometimes you'll just see it blatant as day. They'll try something out. You'll see for 3 days straight. Everybody says something that J.D. Vance, he's weird. There's just something
Yes.
weird about that guy.
You've seen
it just
those
totally, it
compilations.
never stuck, and it
Yes.
fell apart immediately. But it was totally coordinated.
Of course it was. Of course it was, and it was distributed
The
around.
most normal guy.
It's like there's a fax thing. They're faxing around the talking points, not faxes, of course, but they're sending around the talking points, saying these are the things you're going to say today.
Right,
and then the media does it too.
Right. There's somewhere in the DNC is some faceless person with a Saul Alinsky PhD going, all right, guys, get the word out. And of course, the word's also going to go to the mainstream media because they're going to definitely be repeating it. Sometimes they'll repeat entire sentences. It'll be local channel here, national channel there, cable news over there. It's like, you just said the exact same 12-word sentence.
Yes, and it's because journalists are lazy and they just read press release. They get a press release and they go, "Oh, good, here's my story." Instead of doing any research into it. Yeah. So repeating things, having talking points, having rehearsed your talking points, knowing how you're going to respond to certain questions, and having certain specific things that you're going to say, that's just good PR. Yeah.
But what was the other one? That one that I liked in particular was the personalized. So, instead of having a vague concept.
Yeah.
If you can just pin it down,
pin it on somebody.
Yeah.
And
then that makes it personal. It makes it
pick the target, freeze it, personalize it, and polarize it. Yeah. So you're going to pick somebody, you're going to lay it on him, and
the polarize them, but you're going to make it a very much us them.
Yes.
Polarized by whatever decision that for the voter to go. Well, there are only two choices here. It's What's the fallacy called?
Right. When you reduce something down to say that there are only two choices, I can't remember that off the top of my head. But so it sounds like you're narrowing your focus by saying we're only going to go after Phil Knight, the CEO of Nike, and make him the bad guy with the sweatshops. But what it actually does is it provides a mental image where you can say, you're just like this guy.
Right.
Yeah.
And there are lots of guys just like him.
Yeah.
But you need that one.
You need the one.
The face of evil.
Yes, because if you say there are thousands of companies that are doing that, that doesn't mean
much. It doesn't mean much.
You pick this guy and you pin it on this guy and you say, see this guy, look what he's doing. That is way more effective because it's kind of like, what was the thing? Somebody said, 1 million deaths is a statistic. One death is a tragedy.
Yeah. That's Stalin. Yeah.
So if you make it a guy and you make that person sort of your whipping boy, then
it's tragic and personal.
Yeah.
What is the constructive alternatives?
That was the one where, like, when MAD comes to the legislature and brings drafted model laws.
Yeah.
Where you say we're not just complaining. We have something that we're going to propose to do instead.
All right. So let me kick it up a notch.
Yeah.
If what you're trying to do is keep the factory from destroying the neighborhood park.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a community organizer, getting the people in that community to, who's not in favor of that. Did he have in mind, kick it up a notch, that this is how the Democrat Party, who clearly is not powerless, simpletons who's trying to fight against the man, was he thinking, yes, eventually we'll get to this point, and we'll always be agitating, because that's one I want to get to that. That did he think it was that big? And then there are those who see him as a straight up commie, going, yes, and the whole point is to bring the whole system down. And that is, on the one hand, if you're just looking at the community organizer guy, hey, what's to complain about that? But if you then elevate that to the point where, yes, we're going to take down systems of power, starting with the factory order. Next, we're going to go to the governor, and soon we're going to bring down the institution of the church. And
So I'm going to make a strange analogy here. It's kind of like LinkedIn, because there are certain principles in marketing. Like if you want to say that you're great, if you want to sell yourself, if you want to sell your product, whatever, you have a pitch, you have a message, you have something that you're going to say. I saw this meme the other day. It had on the left, it had an otter, and on the bottom it said, "I caught a fish." And on the right, it had the same otter with a tie and a hat on, and it said, "I used my aquatic knowledge to increase the resources for my," and that's the LinkedIn phenomenon, where everybody is speaking in ridiculous language, making too much of themselves. But the reason they do that is because that garbage is effective.
Okay.
So I think what you're getting at is the Democratic Party being always demonstrating, always protesting, it's because that stuff works. It's like you take these principles are effective.
Right.
So why not just keep doing them?
Yes, because, and I think the problem is, or in their case, probably not thinking it is a problem, is that there is no end goal. Mm-hmm. Essentially, the term progressive means you are constantly trying to find the next thing to destroy, really, because you're not really replacing it with anything. Mm-hmm. You're just finding the next thing that needs to come, the next power structure that separates the powerful from the powerless.
Yes.
And now what you're going to do after you bring down the powerful, where's this new synthesis between the powerless and the powerful? Well, we don't have that because we're going to move on to the next thing.
It's kind of like my complaint about the civil rights thing is it's like this is the civil rights issue of our time. Like, why does there always have to be a civil right? So obviously there was a huge civil rights issue in the 50s and 60s, a huge civil rights issue clearly. But then did there have to be a huge civil rights issue every decade after that?
Yes, every generation looks at that so romantically.
And they're thinking, gosh,
how can I be part of the new thing?
I have to find the civil rights issue of our time.
And now it's I would say it's transing the kids or something like that.
So they're always looking and they're digging. It's kind of like the feminists are always digging for some example of feminism or the people. Yeah, it's like... So it's kind of like when people are always trying to find out how the Masons are into everything.
They're controlling everything.
Yeah, so they got to dig deeper and deeper and deeper. Or any kind of a group. It's the same thing when we've talked before about an organization accomplishes something, but then they have to keep telling you again and again that the problem is...
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. They are kind of admitting that they're crappy at their jobs because every organization eventually exists to perpetuate itself.
Right.
And
so what Alinsky is laying out is it's kind of like marketing principles. You're saying these are the things that work. These are the things that actually influence and push your agenda. Therefore, everything has to go through that lens. And it becomes the same kind of thing you get with marketing BS it's like everything is this fluffy, silly marketing stuff. And you get sick of it, but that's because it works.
In terms of marketing, like, it must get difficult to have your product always be new and improved. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's like, really? I mean, you've been making Tide clothes soap for 75 years.
Yeah.
But boom, bam, with new blue colors. And it seems like it's being exhausted, but you have to, right? You can't just go, hey, guys, we're the #1 clothes soap guys, so let's just kick back.
It's been the best for 50 years.
Let's just kick back and relax. No,
you can't do that.
Always be better. And so I guess what I'm saying is it's just like part of the grift that you always have to find the next thing because you've exhausted the first one, or is it bigger than that? Or you're actually trying to bring down the whole system because you're a straight up closet commie,
right?
Or so it's like this is the business model and this is the business I'm in. I mean,
Yeah, I don't.
Those.
So I think it could go. It could go either way. I can understand people saying that the left is just trying to destroy everything from a Marxist kind of a perspective.
Yes.
It's in a way a very pagan outlook on the world, that you create chaos and something good is going to come out of it, which is nonsense. But it's an old idea.
Yeah.
However, it might not be that. It might just be they've adopted this mentality that disruption, sit-ins, setting fire to things, that's the way to promote whatever your latest thing is.
Right. And like I said, there's a certain, and with the success of the civil rights movement, you have, nihilistic meaningless young people.
Yeah.
Who want to be a part of something, and so they'll just glom onto whatever the next thing.
Desperately looking around for the next thing.
And the fact that we have what's the term I'm looking for? We have glorified victimhood.
Yes.
So it's like, so these rich white college kids can't claim to be oppressed blacks in the South. But we'll find our own thing. It's like, I can't pee in a women's toilet. Really, that's how absurd it's gotten.
It is that absurd.
So therefore I'm oppressed. Therefore I can use the tactics. And, I can make myself feel important. And, without really trying to bring down all of Western civilization, even though you're participating in it.
And now we have children who are being taught from a very young age that the important thing to be is an activist, right?
Yeah.
It's not, the important thing isn't to be an engineer and build a good bridge.
Right. It's to build something, to improve something.
Right.
It's to find a reason
to complain.
Or you're saying and the thing is, I'm an activist first. Like, you don't even can you have a cause first and then be an activist?
Right.
It's like, I grew up over here and the rivers were really clean and now they're not. And now I feel like I need to change it.
Yeah.
No, I go to college as an activist. Anybody got anything?
I gotta find.
Anybody got anything?
Yeah, it's kind of like when you're figuring out what am I going to do for my senior thesis, right?
Yeah.
I'm an activist.
Yes.
I've got to find an issue.
Yes, it's right. And the issue isn't even that important.
Right.
It's the activism that's important.
Yes.
And
that is a Saul Alinsky kind of a thing.
Yes, and whether or not the sense that I got, like I listened to some actual interviews of him speaking.
Yeah.
Yes, I think he'd be thrilled. I don't think that this is his 1971 book gone off the rails. I think him going, it's going better than I ever imagined.
Yeah,
I can't imagine that two presidential candidates would claim to be associated with me.
Yeah, and his tactics are working and being used again and again.
And but what's interesting is if you just drill it down to the tactics and not the issues themselves.
Yeah.
Even Ben Shapiro's going,
they're smart.
They're not bad tactics.
Yes, that's right.
Why do we pretend that we're above this?
Yeah.
If this is a fight and we need to use whatever tactics are available.
That's right.
All right.
So that's Saul Alinsky.
That's Saul. Better call Saul.
Cheers.
Or not.
Thanks so much for listening. Be sure to like this video and share it with your friends.